Hello Cherries fans, happy Monday and welcome to the second look here on Back of the Net. My name's Sam Davis.
My name's Tom Jordan.
We are filming at the Goods Yard in Broadstone. So this is going to be the home of our second look recordings for the 24-25 season. Nothing to do with the fact that we've got to play six-a-side football across the road very shortly. But this season, we're going to open it up to you because we want to have more people involved. So look, there's room for another person. So next week, maybe we will fill that. But if you want to get involved, just pop an email to fans@afcbpodcast.com and look, we'll try to rotate and get as many different voices on as possible because Tom, no one wants to really listen to me and just you all season long talking AFC Bournemouth. Variety is the spice of life.
Oh, I totally agree, mate. Yeah, it'd always be good to get guests on. We used to do that quite a lot, didn't we? And we had some really good shows. So yeah, if you're interested, like Sam said, drop an email and we can get another face on, another voice as well, because I'm bored on my own sometimes, and after an away day,
it's a little bit hoarse.
It is a little bit, mate.
It really is a little bit hoarse.
It's happened again.
If you're watching on YouTube, which I'm sure you are, then you can do us a couple of favours. And first one involving this bad boy.
Yeah, big like button. Make sure you click that. We really appreciate that. And then if you click subscribe as well, that would be lovely. And if you click the bell, then you'll know whenever the video's out. So yeah, get on and do it now if you haven't already.
So still unbeaten at the City Ground in what seems like a lifetime. And it was a valuable point, a point, Tom, which many of us said, we'll be happy with that. And ultimately, I think we were. Had the scoring gone the other way around, maybe we might be ruining a few missed opportunities, etc. But the way it worked, we ended leaving the City Ground happy, which seems to be the usual thing for us. Yeah,
I think, as you say, mate, it's definitely context to it, because I think there's a reason why Bournemouth fans are leaving happier than Nottingham Forest fans, and the way the scoring goes always determines that. We score quite late, having been behind for a long time, and yeah, you'll see on the vlog and in our previews that Bournemouth fans would have taken a point, and that's on one hand because every away point in the Premier League to start the season is impressive, I think. But equally because we know that a few bodies, particularly up front, having lost Solanke, are not ready yet. So we knew we weren't going to be going in fully far in. So if we can get out there with a point, first game away from home, perfect. We did that and keep up that little record, which is a weird one. We normally win there and draw at home, so hopefully it's a change. But we have seemed to get this thing over Forest at the moment. I was saying that Steve's boy Adam, happy birthday Adam, was having his 10th birthday. And I said to him, bloody hell, he couldn't talk the last time they beat us. Yeah. And now he's 10, perfect, mental. But so it was good. And I did say in the preview, Chris Webber score, and I did say 1-1.
Yes, you did.
I said 1-1 first 3 games, by the way. I'm sticking with it, mate.
That would be okay. I'll be relatively pleased with that outcome from those 3. Think about it. But alas, we could have got all 3. Had there been another 5 minutes, I just sensed that we might have forged out another chance, which might have gone in the back of the net. And look, that's usually what happens at the City Ground. One thing that really surprised me was when we did score at 1-1 on about 87, 88 minutes, they had a chance where Dean Huijsen made a stunning interception and got the ball away. But a lot of their fans were streaming out the stadium. It's almost like they knew what was coming. Alas, it didn't come, but muscle memory was kicking in for the tricky trees by the looks of it.
Yeah, maybe. And it did feel, like we said about the kind of recent history, if anything, that it felt like we're going to win this, because it just felt like that because of how we've done there. But yeah, probably a draw was probably fair overall. I think Forest would have felt hard done by because they did have a few chances, and it wasn't like we tested Matt Sells in goal loads. It wasn't like he had a worldy game or anything. So I think a draw probably was fair. But yeah, that's always a positive for me. I think that when the whistle went, I would have, if they had offered me another 5 minutes, I'd have taken it. I don't think many Forest fans would have, just because of the way the game was going. Having said that, we were open and they can always catch you on the break. But yeah, I felt like we had, and they were obviously bringing on more defensive players and we were going for it because of, what the score was in the game. But I actually think that was a big point. I think our subs and their subs really changed the game. Obviously one was really enforced for them. And it sounds like Danilo's all right. He's put a little message out, which is great. But yeah, obviously him coming off early would have affected him as well. And then I think Aina got a knock and they had to bring on Toffolo. And I thought that affected them because I thought we then got on that left side more. I thought we struggled. So, whereas our subs really impacted the game well. So I think the subs was a massive part of the game, and I think that's what's going to stand us in good stead this season because we can bring off real strength off the bench. It
was like a tale of two halves, really. I think Forest rightfully won the first half, albeit with couple of mistakes, but then you could badge our goal as having a mistakes where a bit of a bumbling defending error where one person kicks it into another and then it falls to us. But it was 1-1. But I want to just touch on how people felt before the game. We went to a different pub this time. Went to the Nest, which is Notts County's fan zone, which I thought was excellent. We usually go to the Canal House. It involves a bit of a stomp, doesn't it, Tom? And we need to maybe touch on the away day experience as a whole, given the absence, play the violins, of the away day review show. And we haven't done it this year because we've pretty much done everything. Ipswich is the only one.
Maybe we did a special for Ipswich, but yeah, I think yeah, like you were going to say, mate, it's it would just be a 2 rinse and repeat. I feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit.
Even though we didn't go to the same pub this time, but you know what? Inside the ground, horror show in there if you want to consume food, and also if you want to listen to any of the home fans chanting as well. It obviously wasn't the best place to be, apart from Mullen of Kintyre at the start, which is always good.
That's what I was saying. I was saying to Dave, you know, our favourite Nottingham Forest fan, saying to him after the game, it's, you know, you don't want to. I hate it when you just fans go, oh, you were so quiet, but Nottingham Forest, and you will see if you go back on the previous few away shows the last few seasons, they always do well, and a lot of it is because they always get it rocking, and as we've said, I don't want to keep going on about it, we never lose, so it's not like they're always winning, and I thought apart from Mullen Kintyre, I can't really remember them singing.
No, I mean it's.
Which
one thing
strange.
I'm gonna dig them out by perhaps giving them the benefit of the doubt that where we were stood,
maybe.
We were right under a stand, which meant the noise won't really carry to us.
Maybe, yeah.
Very well anyway, but we should have heard something.
We just always feel like they're quite good. So
yeah, they have been.
Yeah.
And there's always been a bit of banter between us and them as well. I especially miss not being a number of rows forward where we could look up and see that man losing his shite.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen him on 88.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. But yeah, and as you said, that's the only disappointment. I really liked the Nest. I thought it was cool, and we got to. That's the thing with Canal House, a bit further, and you can't watch the early game. So watch a bit of footy. All Bournemouth fans in there, so it was really cool. But they sent you to the away play, and obviously the police and everyone was recommending this place, so they're trying to get Bournemouth fans there. Fine, no food. Okay, we'll just have to. So everyone there is going, okay, we'll have to get food in the stadium. You get to the stadium, I think they had 8 pies left. Yeah. And then at half time they had nothing. And then the funny thing was, I think you just missed it actually. We're all down there. Everyone's Bournemouth fans are fuming that you can't even get a burger or hot dog. Yeah. And there's a steward just walks past with a pie, just walking past eating it. He got one. But yeah, I don't think that's great that. How do they not know on the first game of the season there's going to be a lot of... And the away place doesn't give you food either. That wasn't ideal.
No, they said there was going to be food, but alas, because it's one of the early...
Massive club.
Yeah.
Massive club. They couldn't cope with us. Yeah. But so that's probably why I'm a bit more hoarse, because I was maybe a little bit more drunk because I didn't have any food. That's what I'm going for anyway.
You drinking at away games? I've never known anything like it, mate. But yeah... But you know what, despite not having any food in either the Nest or at the City Ground, Bournemouth fans were feeling optimistic about the season. Now, for the benefit of people that are listening on the audio pod, people who've watched YouTube will have seen these clips, but we're going to play just a couple of sound bites from fans who are looking forward to the new season and certainly love what Bill Foley's doing. So we'll start with Matty Davis. I reckon Bill Foley means business. I was concerned about this season, but maybe still am today, given the team that we've just seen, and we haven't got a striker, a proper striker that's always been a striker in the side, but we've signed one. And some of our transfer business, the players that we've been linked with, tends to indicate that he's going for it this season.
He's an American businessman, and he doesn't go back on his word, is what you'd have to say about the fella so far. He's ambitious, he sticks to his word, he sticks to his promises, and he doesn't mess about, does he? If he says he's going to sign someone, he says he's going to address something, he'll do it. And that tends to be the American way.
Foley's putting his money where his mouth is, isn't he?
Oh, most definitely, yeah. I mean, we all worried a week ago what's going to happen after John left. Evan Nielsen, what more do you need to say?
Yes, there's certain elements where we've sold our soul as a football club. Certainly as supporters we probably have. I don't recognise the club from where it was previously. I've been following it now for the best part of 40 years. And we're a different club. But you have to make those sacrifices if you're going to progress.
Really exciting, yeah. I was a bit worried when Slanky went, but we seem to be getting new people in, so
This is a business now. Yes, we've lost a commodity in Solanke, and he's addressed that straight away to make sure that we're still competitive in the league and we still keep moving forward. So nothing but admiration for the man.
Yeah, so there we heard from a number of fans there, Tom. And I think Matty Davis hit the nail on the head with what he's doing. He's, Dom Solanke, as Matt said, he was a commodity that we had, and Bill Foley just knew that we needed to go out and replace him. And we've signed this guy that it took a lot of us by surprise, but when it came to fruition, my God, what a signing that is. And then we don't know what's happening with Mamardashvili, but we certainly hope that will happen, because there might be a couple of talking points within the game that may point to the fact that we do need someone.
I would be happy with him, yes. But yeah, as I say, you go out and you've got to replace Solanke, and he goes and does it with a top striker, by all accounts, with his record, and see how he adapts to the Premier League. Let's not get on him too much. It might take a little bit of time, and Andoni alluded to that after the game, saying, we'll have to get him, it's a new league, it's a new country, new style, so it's probably, even though we all would have gone, it would have been nice time for 15 minutes yesterday at the weekend, I just think that they're probably going, actually, if you look at it now that we've got out there with a good point, he's had a whole week to train with a group, that might be good. And because Araujo, for example, which I'm sure we'll get on to, he managed to have that bit of time with the group, so he got, and that probably benefited him. But yeah, as you say, mate, there's no more Foley can do. It's, unfortunately, I always felt that we'd probably lose Dom. We've managed to get a really good price for him. We didn't just go, I'll just settle for 30 and get a Tottenham player on loan. That was always my fear. We've kind of gone out and gone, right, let's get the best deal for the football club, and then we'll replace him very, very quickly. And there's no way they just went and found him after. Evanilson was obviously on a list. So did you hear that? As soon as I said Evanilson, everyone. But yeah, we obviously had some sort of list, and I think when you look at some of the names on the list and the ones that I believe were being looked at, he was the main one when we got it over the line. So I'm really looking forward to seeing him. As you say, if we can get Mamardashvili in, then I think that would just take us to a next level. And then I think the rest of it will probably depend on outgoings. If there were Aarons, Mepham, Billing, all of these go, then we might bring a few more. But if we can just get the keeper over the line, I'll be well happy.
Yeah, so 1:45 we learned that he was not going to be in the squad, but we did learn a few things about what Iraola was thinking. So there are the team lineups we can see on screen. For those on the pod, Neto in goal from right to left, Smith, Zamani, Huijsen, Kerkez. And then Watara, of course, playing up to the right, Sinisterra on the other side, Scott, Tavernier and Cook, Tavernier in the number 10. There's that triangle. And then Semenyo was our number 9 up top, and he got on the score sheet. And Nottingham Forest, well, if you listened to our preview on the pod, or whether you watched it, because you can do both these days, make sure you subscribe to our podcast, by the way. Easy to do, and it's free. Tom got 11 out of 11. Well done, mate.
That's another reason, mate, because if you're obviously an opposition fan, you don't need to worry about what your team's going to be.
Just don't worry about it.
I had a lot of Forest fans as well saying, because I kind of said, can you let me know? Because I'm not sure, I've got nothing to go off here. I'm just picking an 11 I think you'll do. And they were saying, I think Milenkovic will play. I went, no, I think they'll stick with the experience of Bolly.
Yeah.
And yeah, I managed to get it bang on, mate, so I was pleased with that. But yeah, for us, I said to you off camera, didn't I, that I think it's hard to read too much into the opening day 11. I totally get why a lot of people are saying, myself included actually to a degree, how can you not start Kluivert and Christie if they're available? And you saw that in the second half. But I remember going back to when we were in the States, because we did go to the States, and when we were at the open training session, Kluivert wasn't there, he didn't play a minute.
Yeah.
And Christie was doing individual training.
Yes.
So all I can get from that is maybe they were a little bit further behind than the others.
Yeah.
Or they might have had a little bit of a temperature, which Senesi obviously ruled him out.
Yes.
So, yeah, I think if we'd known about Senesi, we would have definitely put Huijsen in anyway. I obviously went for Senesi. And then Tavernier, we were saying before the game when we looked at that lineup, who's going to be in the 10. And the only real reason I felt it would be Tav is because he trialled that in a home friendly, and I actually felt he'd done okay. It's not perfect, but I felt he'd done okay in there enough for me to think he'd be given the opportunity. So yeah, I was pretty happy with it, mate, and I knew we had ammo on the bench, which is always crucial.
One of the things that I was concerned by, and I've said this before, is having Cook and Scott in the same side, because to me their play is
quite similar,
almost too similar. But then maybe you can forgive Iraola for doing that, because both Cook and Christie do not score goals, and with a Dom Solanke in the side, we need goals to come from somewhere, and we know that Alex Scott can pop up for us, whereas Lewis Cook really won't. But That was my concern.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, that's a fair way of looking at it. But I know what you mean. They both kind of them players. I think Lewis will always be a player that's a little bit deeper in his positional play. But I get what you're saying. They both want the ball to feet. They can both drive forward, take you up the pitch a little bit. Both very good passes of the ball. But that kind of energy and tenacity is definitely more Ryan Christie.
We don't know what Alex Scott is, which is the concern that we had. Do you remember when we did the show where we each gave a wish of what we want to see from each player, some silly, some not. And one of the things you said from Alex Scott is, I want to know what you are.
Yeah.
And that performance from him, I still can't work it out. And I feel as though...
I thought it was decent, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I thought so. I thought Lewis Cook, comparatively, I think Lewis Cook was probably a shade poorer.
Yeah. I think Lewis Cook showed that he was out of was it the last pre-season game? He was out of, maybe there was a little bit of rust there because he had a knock. But they were both, that's what I mean. It's a great position to be in because I thought they're both fine.
Yeah.
But, the levels that we know these two can get to. Alex, and like you say, Alex Scott, it's about, is he, the worry will be, I say the worry, but is he just good in Lewis Cook's position, which means you can only play one of them?
Well, that's right. And I find that
when they do, Scott could be higher.
When they do play together, I think that Lewis Cook almost stunts us knowing what Alex Scott is. So it's very, but you know what? There were little moments from him. I sense that he still is not up to the physicality quite yet.
And he's had so many injuries that I think he's not quite probably 100% sharp. But Andoni did say that after the game that they were talking about the midfield and stuff, and he said, I could not play Alex Scott after pre-season and training. So, and I did think that after he's looked good in pre-season. I think he got man of the match in one of the home friendlies, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he's obviously had a good pre-season. So I kind of respect that from Andoni going, you've earned it. I'm going to give you the chance. We did look better with Christie coming on, but I think the way the game was, you'd always be better with someone that's going to really just be tenacious and energetic and everywhere when we needed him to be. But Scott was fine and Cook was fine. They just weren't to them levels we'd hope. I would say when we got onto that, you mentioned the show where we spoke about little things we wanted everyone to do. Little props to you, by the way. You said Justin Kluivert to try and make the Dutch squad, and he's in the provisional squad.
For the Nations League.
Yeah, so well done you, mate. I haven't quite got the Zabani header yet. I thought, once you got that, I thought you watched Zabani header.
And Lewis Cook, by the way, had a cross-come shot that just flashed wide, and I thought that could be your moment because you challenged him to score a goal. So this season, hopefully, we will see it. But look, we'll go through little moments that we might want to pick out from the game. Obviously, Tom's mentioned the Danilo injury that looked horrific.
Because of the way they put the sheets across made it seem, it's a weird one.
I thought it could be some kind of cardiac arrest thing.
This is not me being, it's obviously a really bad injury and I'm glad he's all right. I don't think it's going to be 2. I think he might only be out for 3 months. So he's probably going to be back before Tyler Adams. But, and it was bad. I've seen it back and, landing was horrible and the players, you can see that.
Yeah.
Since when have we, Christian Eriksen didn't have a sheet round him.
No, true.
It's surprising for what I believe is maybe an ankle break or something like that. But fine, it doesn't bother me. I don't want to see it. So
unless that's the new sort of protocol.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm kind of alluding to.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I do want to make a point. I think a lot of people did point this guy out on it. Someone did put in our comments. Oh no, it was on Twitter. Sorry, it was on X. That it was disgraceful that Bournemouth fans started singing the Danilo song when they scored. It's because Danilo's song is the same as Semenyo.
Oh really?
We were singing Semenyo. We would obviously never do that. So yeah, he's got the same song. The Semenyo Always Believe in Your Soul was the same for Danilo.
I did not know that.
So they just heard what they consider as the Danilo song when we scored, but Semenyo's got the same song. So just clearing that up.
I swear that every football club in the land has got that song.
We used to have Cameron Jones as well, didn't we?
Yeah, that ends in O.
And Jamal Lowe.
Yeah, and Jamal Lowe. So we had that a number of times. Now, I felt as though that moment almost galvanised Forest, and I think.
And Yates done all right when he come on.
Yeah, I thought so. And, sometimes, I've played in a game on a Sunday league where one of my teammates has had that happen. And ironically, you won't believe this, the player that it happened to was called Jim Legg. And we were playing up in Broadstone Rec. I don't know if he's watching, but one of the Loco boys will probably be watching and remember this. Went in for a challenge, and then I think it was an ankle break, but his foot just dangled. We were like, that's not right.
Oh, the old dangle Watara.
At that point, we had to play on, and it's...
weird.
We won the game, but there was a bit of a siege mentality, but it felt that after that, I think we were poor, so that helped. But Forest, they shaded the game, I would say.
In the first half, I agree.
They ended up scoring a goal, and we're going to watch it now on screen, Tom, because we need to deconstruct it, and we need to do it with heads where the dust has settled. We're going to be level-headed. We're not going to be knee-jerk with that.
Okay, so we're just talking about the goal here. You don't want me to go into a wider conversation yet.
No. So the ball starts on the left-hand side with a throw-in, but yeah, the ball...
It's good football from them, but very fortunate they're a bit like we are for the goal.
Exactly. And then a shot comes in from the edge of the box, straight into Neto's hands, and it is... I want to say parried, but it's almost like scooped back to them, and it falls to Chris Wood.
It's assisted to Chris Wood.
An assist, is that what you're going to call it?
We've got someone out tonight, and I'm the backup goalkeeper, so I'm playing a goal tonight, aren't I?
Yeah.
If a shot like that comes in, I'll be fuming if I don't gather that.
Yeah.
That's, and I'm not a goalkeeper at all. But yeah, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of things that happened in the play. You know, I think
it that forceful a shot? Maybe it was too hot to handle that shot.
If it's too hot to handle, you palm it wide of your goal.
Well, look, I've seen goalkeepers have to handle Semenyo shots, which are ridiculously powerful, and some of them manage to gather it and not let it go.
Yeah, and I think, and don't get me wrong, there's certain shots that maybe you're not quite, or you're not expecting it, or whatever. But if a shot comes in and you think, I can't gather this, you palm the ball well away. You don't palm it straight to where. Of course, their striker's going to be there, especially someone like Chris Wood, who is that sort of player that will poach on that. But even before, so the goal that we just saw, it started with a throw-in, didn't it? The throw-in was Neto kicking the ball out of play for no reason.
So it had sort of Brentford vibes, didn't it?
Just kicked the ball out of play for no reason, yeah.
Do you remember Brentford away, where he gave away a free kick? And then,
because he was out of his goal.
When that free kick came in, he was behind his line.
Yeah.
And then it went in, according to the watch. But yeah, there was a lot of chat about him online, and we've asked the question on our Telegram group about it, just to make sure that we're not wearing, I don't know what the opposite of rose-tinted spectacles is, but it's that, because we aren't here to protect players, are we? We're here to just be analytical and critical.
Mate, yeah.
But the thing is, there are people that are countering our points with the fact that Neto last season made the same amount of errors leading to goals as the best keeper in the world, like Alisson, fewer than Raya, Sarr, Turner, etc., with just 2.
Errors leading to goals are an absolute disgrace of a stat, by the way. So if a goalkeeper just drops the ball, but that striker misses, it's fine, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, the amount of times that a goalkeeper makes an error, but it doesn't end up in something, that's nothing to do with that error. It's to do with the striker missing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It depends what game you make the error in. And this is a wider point. That goal, what's the word when it's on its own? Secluded? Isolated, that's the word I was looking for. That goal, I said, he should do better in my opinion, but it's not the worst thing in the world. He's parried it.
But that did go down as an error. This one did go down as an error.
I know it did. But it's the larger point. That's why I said to you when we're talking about the goal, is this just on this goal we're talking about? It's watching the game every week. Every cross that comes into the box, I go, because of our goalkeeper. I do. And this is me just being honest. I never did that when Travers was in goal for that period. No. And Travers ain't the best goalkeeper in the world. I never did that. We only had one game to do it off, but I never did that against Wrexham when Will Dennis was in goal. Every time the ball, there was one that come in and there is no one near him and he punched, and it's the worst punch. And that could be a goal, but because our defenders cleared it, that will never be on a stat, will it? As I say, the kicking sometimes ain't great, but I don't think that's his worst thing. I think normally he's okay with that. Yeah. It's more I don't know what the opposite of commanding is, but that's how I feel. He's the least commanding goalkeeper, in my opinion, in the league. And I think he's got great leadership. He's obviously, we've heard it enough that he's brilliant with the group, and he's obviously captain for a reason. And like I say, he will make the odd shot stop, which I do kind of expect from a goalkeeper. But these people saying about, but he kept you in the game with them saves. Imagine if he didn't save the saves he saved.
Yeah,
Willie Body's header is a good save.
Yeah, that was the most impressive one out of all of them. I would say the rest are probably standard. That I think
it's a fine save.
There might be some keepers that don't save it.
If that volley header, which is a good header, but it's not right in the corner. If he headers it, no, it goes like that and it goes through his hands. Everyone is going, how did he not save that?
Yeah, true.
Don't get me wrong, he saved it. And that's your job, brilliant, and he does make a few good saves. Of course, he makes some good saves. I've got nothing against the guy. I actually really quite like him because he's great with fans and stuff. I cannot for the life of me see, if we don't, obviously it sounds like we're going to, if we weren't to say we need an upgrade on him. And I don't know how else to word it, so this is going to sound harsher than it is, but you'll know what I'm trying to say. I almost lose a bit of respect for Mark Travers. Because how can Mark Travers not go in on Monday morning to Iraola and go, if you don't think I'm as good as Neto, please let me leave, mate. Because Travers wasn't world class, but when he came in last season, none of that happened. How many games did he play in a row? It was a few, wasn't it? 4 or 5? Not once did I feel he caught stuff.
Nah.
He done shot stopping just like Neto did. I think we virtually won every game as well, didn't we? We had a good period. I remember the Wolves game away where he was catching stuff, taking the pressure off. I just don't see that, mate. And for me, you have a lot of modern keepers, so I get it. You've got to be comfortable with the ball out of the back. And I do think on the whole, he's not too bad with his feet.
I think these stats, this is where the stats thing, I don't really understand because the eye test is always different to the stats. And I think it was AFCB Rob who said, well, these stats, you have to isolate the stats and sometimes they look better than what they are and sometimes, but it is the eye test that does it. I mean, the stats sometimes, for instance, the goal that we conceded at home against Wolves last season, he put Billing in trouble and Billing lost the ball. That probably won't go down as a Neto error.
Yeah, that'd be a Billing
But ultimately, it is his error. So it doesn't go down as a... Yeah. It's the equivalent of blaming nurses for the NHS crisis.
Okay, yeah.
There's a more global issue.
And I think, and you've got, and that a lot of the time that is the case on most stats. Yeah. But I think in this one that we're talking about, I agree. And if that Yates who had the shot that he parried, if Yates smashed that in the top corner, obviously Neto's not going to get any fault for that. But the only reason they scored the goal is because we gave him a throw in, and Neto kicked out. That wouldn't be an error either. No. There's a lot of things that and it's not just the errors, because I think you can look at it on the spin. I just kind of mentioned the amount of times a ball comes in. Let's not say he does a silly punch. The amount of times a cross comes in, he should come out and he's on his goal. If he's on his goal line, sometimes he's behind it, like that, and they'll go and header it in the back of the net. That won't be down as an error. But most goalies would come and get it. I mean, or our defenders. I'm not being funny. How many times that we've both spoke about how good Huijsen was. Yeah. He was probably our best player, probably the best player on the pitch. Zabani was musting again. Last season, how good was Zabani and Celesi? So imagine if we didn't have these centre halves. The amount of times they're winning headers that if they weren't winning it, because a goalkeeper should be out.
That's what I said to you against Wolves when away at Wolves, where we won 1-0, and it almost felt like we had a superpower all of a sudden. Like we had an extra rule in football that we didn't have previously. The fact that the goalkeeper can catch a ball,
come out and catching it.
And it was strange to watch it. It's like something that I hadn't seen in
And this won't be on stats. That's what we're getting to.
No, exactly. And, I've said it on shows previous. If Neto's reliable, the Echo would not have been running that article where they are individually analysing every goal that Neto's conceded. They wouldn't be doing that. No. So there's obviously a problem. We wouldn't be needing to get Marmadashvili in. So we're obviously hiring for a reason. So it seems that maybe Iraola is on board with what a lot of fans are saying. Not all of them, but a lot. But alas, for some reason for him, there is still the thought that he's better than Travers, which I'm struggling to see.
I don't see the evidence of that at all from watching the game. I'm sure stats would say differently, I'm sure. But I don't see the evidence of that. And this is not me saying Travers is the answer. I think Travers would do fine. I would like a better goalkeeper for where we're trying to get to. But I think Travers has not really let us down. I don't see the evidence of Neto being a better goalkeeper personally. I just don't see it, mate. And I said this before, I don't want to repeat myself too much. He's obviously at an age where he's he's nearing the end of his career. I know goalkeepers can go on longer. It's the only club he's been number one for. There's a reason behind that. Mamardashvili is early 20s and he's nearly made before signing for Bournemouth. So Neto was in his 30s, so he's nearly a decade over than Mamardashvili. And they've made near enough the same amount of appearances as number one. And I think that's the level. I think, as you kind of went to there, mate, I think they all know how great he is around the place, which is not something that should be just thrown away. That's important.
Of course.
You need something in the group. I always hear one of the key ones that says it a lot is Roy Keane, and says about, you go into the dressing room and you're together, and that's important. And if he's done that, and I do want to say, because weirdly, it's quite fitting that it was against Forest, Gary O'Neill's first game, where Neto come in and we won and we went on a bit of a run and we obviously stayed up that season, and I felt his leadership and just the fact that we had him behind helped us in periods, because he looked like, okay, he's got this experience, that's going to help us. And there was a period where I felt we helped.
It feels like now the captaincy, like it was with Lloyd Kelly, is a bit of a burden, and sometimes I think, is it best to have your captain as the goalkeeper that's so far away from most of the players? Wouldn't it be better for like a midfielder? I mean, I know the game's in front of him.
Yeah,
so
I've always liked
see it better, but
I've always
I don't know.
ideally liked a centre half personally because I think you could see the game in front of you. But yeah, I know what you mean. It is what it is. I think goalkeepers get captains more than they used to, and I think that's because normally you know your number one is, so you know they're going to play every week, so you just give them the armband. But yeah, as I say, mate, I thought he has done good things for us for sure, and I wouldn't begrudge him that. But there is also a reason why they're looking at it and going, he's great at this, great at that in the dressing room, speaks all the languages under the sun. There's a reason why they've brought in Alex Paulson, Callum McKenna, they recalled Travers, they recalled Will Dennis. Well, they still got him at the club. They got in Radu last season, they're now getting in Mamadashvili. That's like 6 goalkeepers I've just spoken about there. There's a reason they're doing that. If they got full trust in that, they go, oh, he's still here for another few years, don't need to worry about it.
In many ways, it almost that's kind of made me want to watch every single highlights package from last season and just see how many points that potentially could have been rescued.
I don't think you'll ever be able to find that unless you watched. What I want to say is kind of like you were saying then with this is why I think the stats, because you'd have to watch full 90 minutes and go, because I don't think he's made loads of glaring errors, which the stats show.
And there have been some stunning saves as well.
What I think's happened is there'll be a time where you think the ball comes in, say from a corner, he should come out, he doesn't, so our defender has to head it out. They then get the ball and put it in the top corner. That no one thinks about Neto then. But a top goalie just comes out, catches the ball, we play again, and we never conceded that goal. It's that sort of thing. I don't think he makes a glaring error all the time to give a goal away. I think in the build, it's going every game. I do feel like it's so obvious how vulnerable we are.
Yeah, and it seems to reverberate throughout the side. But we won't concentrate fully on Neto because, alas, we equalised in that first half, Tom. Although we shouldered the blame from Lewis Cook's top part of the arm, trying to do a little pun there. But look, we did the old corner routine that worked at Villa, the old classic where short ball in and then Cook arching his run to make it look like he's going to run outside, but then comes inside and then ball flashed across. A little bit of a deflection, as happened with all the goals, whether disallowed or not. And Watara smashed it into the top left, cue limbs, but then
so pleased for him as well.
Once the finger was to the ear, we knew that there was an issue, and the length that it was taking Michael Oliver to find out the answer indicated that there was an issue, and it was offside.
Yeah, it's just like I say, this is nothing. It's offside these days, but it's ridiculous in my opinion, absolutely mental. But I was more just disappointed that. When Watara finished it, and I felt we'll probably get onto it a little bit more, but like we said about Watara, I think he's had a really good pre-season, whereas I felt he struggled in parts last season with his final bit, and 2 goals in the amount of time he's been here I don't think is enough. And him scoring on the opening day, the first goal, I just think would have given him something. And it wasn't like it was all fluffy, and then he nearly missed it. But I just scuffed one in, Dango. I was buzzing when I saw it was him, so I couldn't really tell. But it is what it is, mate. If it's the other way around, you want it to be chalked off with how the bloody VAR and the rules are these days. Don't get me into that because it's literally the first weekend of the season and there's already, you could do a show on decisions.
Oh my God, I know, absolutely
ridiculous.
Crazy. The one that happened on the Sunday game, as well. I mean, what on earth was that
why are we
about?
rolling goals out for that?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be entertaining.
I mean, now that, like I alluded to on the vlog, apparently you can go onto Twitter now and see the answer during a game and get a live feed of what they're talking about. But anyway, that first half.
We'll come on to another one later as well, by the way.
Yeah, we will. Michael Oliver, inconsistent central.
Did you say he was the ref for the one that gave a penalty to Forest against us as well? We don't like him at the City ground, do we?
No, we absolutely don't. But the press wasn't good enough in the first half. The energy levels weren't at all. I think Forest dominated the midfield. I thought they looked all right value for money, but not that great, I've got to say. I mean, I thought, and it's easy to say this because it sounds really condescending towards Forest, and I know people are going to get aggrieved at me saying this, but it felt like we were like at 40%. And Forest, if that's them taking advantage from an error, I'm not overly convinced by them this season. I know it's early days, of course.
Very
There's
early.
going to be new signings that may come in, but I don't think they'll have anything to worry about. But they might be looking over their shoulders slightly based on what I've seen so far.
I think what I was speaking to a Forest fan afterwards, saw him in the service station, and he kind of agreed that I think their main, because Chris Wood will do what he does. He scored the goal. He'll get the odd goal. They need Aaron fit, mate. We said it in the preview. They need him fit.
Explosive,
They need him fit. I think he's brilliant. And I also want to say, not that he was bad, but Gibbs White's normally better than that. Yeah. So I think when you get Gibbs White up to speed, that'll help. What I would say is, because you think about how we said in the second half, we'll come on to that we had all this play, but we didn't test the keeper. I think the centre halves are going to keep him up. We'll be fine. That's why they'll be fine. I think Mario's really good. body with his experience. But I mentioned it on the pre. They signed Milankovic, who's probably going to come in for. I think that's some good centre halves in there, which I think will help them, mate. And you know, Danilo's a good player, and obviously, you know, for not very nice circumstances, they only had him for 15 minutes in the game. So I do think they'll have enough. I think what surprised me in a good way from a Bournemouth perspective was the wide men I didn't think done enough. So Elanga and Hudson-Odoi, you hear about them, so you think, oh God, they're going to frighten you. I thought they were both really off it. I thought Hudson-Odoi just got the ball, tried to come in, you knew what he was going to do. Whereas we had at times, I think particularly when Clive come on, but we always have it with Antoine when he's wide, and we always have it with Sinisterra. They get the ball and they're quick and they run it. I felt they kept getting it and stopping it and slowing it down. And that helped us. So, but they won't be like that everywhere. I think they can get better. From our point of view, we didn't feel like we were up to it in the first half, and I don't think we were punished like they should have.
Well, as we look at the match timeline on YouTube, it all felt like it changed on about 60 minutes. And on 63 was where the substitutions were made. There was another one just a moment after as well. But Araujo for Adam Smith, obviously providing that energy down the right flank. Christie in for Alex Scott, which made sense. And then Cliver in for Luis Sinisterra, and Justin Cliver loved singing his song. But we were talking about the, you know, Forest's relative impotency with their width. I thought that we were the same until these boys came on, and then we utilised that width so much better. I thought we were excellent. And Ryan Christie, his energy was superb. Justin Cliver, just a natural dribbler of the ball, starting with the ball on the left flank, dribbling it across the pitch, stretching their players across, playing it to Semenyo on the other side, who, by the way, is such a natural wide player. It's unbelievable.
I'm glad Andoni said that after the game.
Up front is not his thing. And numerous times where he did have chances, you know, some of them went over or whatever. The shots that went down the keeper's throat, maybe should have done better. There was one that flashed wide of the left post, which we all thought might have gone in. That was where he started wide and cut in. He's not that player that can take the Dov role, is it? No. But you know what?
He
did a job, and he was in the right position, to his credit.
Yeah, and I will say that, because Andoni said about it afterwards. Antoine Semenyo wasn't up front for large parts of that game. He changed it quite quickly, I think. He said, which I kind of get now, he went with Cini. He changed him and Cini because he felt that Cini's probably better with his back to goal, like he kind of linked the play a bit more. Antoine, you need him running at people, and that certainly helped, mate. Going to that, though, I also thought when he went to the right, the reason he was so much better also was Araujo. Yeah. I thought Smith was fine, by the way, but Araujo's energy.
Overlapping, underlapping, just causing panic.
He was winning balls back, he was blocking stuff, he was really, really impressive. And that's we've seen him for, half an hour. It was under 10 million quid.
A very, very good debut, I thought. But I thought it's obviously something that Iraola instructed him to do, because even when Kirkes was picking up the ball, his first thought was to play it to the winger who was hugging the touchline and then going for the underlap, to which then confuses the defenders. Forest naturally retreated, but I think, we certainly capitalised on that. Now, I can't remember the order.
Yeah.
Do you remember that Forest had a shot which Neto saved and it instantly turned into a counter-attack?
Was that the header from Bolly?
No, I think it was another chance that Neto saved it, and then it was cleared, and then Cini went almost one-on-one, and he tried to shoot. He just went under the keeper, but the keeper got enough of his body on it. Was that before our equaliser? I think it was.
And
that was a good chance,
and
wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's what happens with Andoni, and quite often you end up getting like a basketball match, which is good fun, because you just go for it.
I had Girona vibes of him being one-on-one and maybe round the keeper, but it wasn't to be. But we did score our goal, mate. We did score our goal, and a bit fortuitous as well.
Oh, it was skanky as hell. We were putting a few balls like that in, weren't we? And Christie managed to get it across. And it's a bit, but I think they cleared it onto Mariano's face, and Semenyo just had a snapshot at it. So it was, I think in both goals you see the defenders kind of the ball bounce off each other, so it was quite fitting that we'd done the same, really. But I was glad Antoine was there from a wide position coming in, still getting in the areas. And just going on to subs quickly, we obviously say the Araujo done really well. I think what's interesting as well, we spent a lot of money recently. Everyone's talking about Bournemouth buying a player for 40 million quid, unbelievable, house at the back, a lot of money, blah, blah, blah. Kluivert, Christie, and Araujo come on the pitch, about 20 million.
Yeah.
Then 3 players combined.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. And I also, this has not been disrespectful, I thought what also helped us just before our subs, only about 5-10 minutes before, they brought on Toffolo, because I think Aina got an injury. They put Nico Williams right back still, and Toffolo was left back. Toffolo, I felt, really struggled with Semenyo and Araujo, which helped us. Yeah. And then we brought on Daniel Jefferson, and Jefferson didn't do loads with the ball, but just having a number 9.
I thought he was good.
His press was brilliant.
Yeah, his work rate. And that's a player that, to me, looks like he's trying to convince Andoni, I want to stay.
I'd have him in amongst it. And also because we don't know, we haven't seen enough of Unai about his injury record. We don't know how quickly Evanilson will hit the ground running. I'd have him around the place still. But equally, I would appreciate that you kind of go, if you want him to improve, he needs to be playing football. But I would quite like us to go, you know what, Jebbo? You're going to be in amongst the squad and in amongst it and playing in cup games until January, and then we'll see and maybe get you a loan to the end of the season if you're not playing. Because I just think he's done enough with his pressing and that to be an option. And I thought he helped. We did bring Billen on as well, who, in my opinion, didn't help, but it got another body up there for them to worry about, didn't it?
Yeah, well, I think, and that's the thing with Philip Billen, because he always scores at Forest. I think it just made them worry slightly.
Did you not think that? Because I didn't think it really mattered who we brought on at the end, so we brought Billen on. We needed someone to just help with the press and just work their nuts off and try and make a mistake. I'd have chucked Jaden on. I think he would have been chomping at the bit.
Yeah, and Jaden's scored at City Ground as well. They all have.
Because Billen's not that sort of player. He's not going to start.
He's not.
But alas, it was. I'm glad we got the point, mate, and I felt we earned that in the end.
There were chances for both sides. I mean, we've talked about Neto and his wrongdoings, but there was a good save from Bolly's header that we've talked about. But also, we need to talk about Dean Huijsen. I mean, how old's this guy? 19. I mean, boy, 19. He's a teenager, for God's sake. That block at the end that he made was just sublime.
And just the way he was.
The aerial dominance of him was superb. His stats looked really good. He was just a Rolls Royce.
Rolls Royce is the way. It's what a lot of defenders like him are referred to. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying the same thing. I don't want to get carried away. It's one football match.
But he is the best player on earth.
He's the best player I've ever seen in the Borussia. it was Nathan Ake, right? I'm sure that it was Nathan Ake. What I will say is, and this will be interesting to know if this was because we didn't have a 9 or if this is because he is different. So the only thing I think we missed without having Celesi there, because I think Dean Huijsen looked better as a defender, Celesi plays them balls. He used to always do it to Dom.
Or the diags.
And he almost builds us. And he didn't do that as much, but then did he not do that as much because we didn't have a 9?
Yeah, Dean Huijsen was always looking for the ball between their forward players to the feet of Lewis Kirk or Christian.
And I wonder if that was more of an instruction because having no number 9. So that'll be interesting if Dean, which I assume you will, plays in the next game and say it's even also up front when he start playing them balls like Celesi does. But honestly, mate, he was faultless. He was unbelievable. I mean, to be honest, we've only seen him that one time really at home in friendlies, and when he was in, I thought he'll be fine. And that's how quickly I've already realised he's quite. I think we got someone there, haven't we?
He was faultless, but you know who did have a few faults?
Go on,
Michael Oliver. The inconsistencies with the yellow cards. I mean, in the first half, he seemed a little bit trigger happy, and then there was one in the second half, mate, that was blatant.
What, the second yellow you're talking about?
Yeah.
Nico Williams.
Yeah. He got booked on 55 minutes.
And then
should have got booked later.
You'll see it. You can see it. You've seen the video back. And you see me on the vlog going mad as well.
Yeah.
Watara, I think it was, runs past him, skips past him with pace, and he just takes him out. And it's just a typical yellow card, and he gives a corner. And I think he gives a corner because he knows that if I give a free kick here, I've got to give him a second yellow. Gives a corner, he gets nowhere near the ball. You see that afterwards. So that's frustrating. They would have gone down to 10. But yeah, that was a frustrating one, mate, because it was definitely a yellow. But it's one of them things. And I think I'm going to just give it to Forest fans there, because I always like wind them up and stuff. There might be some watching, particularly you, Dave. I think we got away with one last season with Woody Body's red.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get away with that, I think you deserve it, because that Woody Body red, still one of the worst red cards I've ever seen. So, yeah, we'll let you have that one.
There were a few frustrations from some fans with regards to Dango.
Yeah, I'm one of them that gets frustrated with Dango, and I think that's because we know there's something there, and he's explosive, and he's got leap on him in the air. He can play on both sides. He's filled in at fullback even, to his credit. And I've said it enough. I thought he was the best player in pre-season. Yeah. I thought he was our best player in pre-season. He thoroughly, I think I said actually, he should start because he deserves it. And then when it comes to it, I just think he's the same. He is still young and raw, but he does all the right things. And that final bit always lets him down.
But he offers a lot of energy.
He does. But then is he going to fall back into a player?
He's good in the air.
That's a good impact sub because of his energy.
Yeah.
I don't think he's not going to give you the final bit that Cine, that Semenyo, that even Tav give you. So he wasn't awful.
No, I mean, he was no better or worse than, say, Lewis Cook, for instance.
Yeah, completely different positions, but yeah, I agree. Yeah,
of course. It's
just frustrating because I think, and like I said, I think if he just, it's one of them players, I wonder if it's a confidence thing, if that goal had counted, would he have a little bit more confidence to do? I think he kind of overthinks it sometimes when he beats his man.
Yeah, probably.
Just beat your man, get a ball, and he's just, but, and then he started him, and he kept him on the pitch for quite a while. I think he come off for Jebo, didn't he? But he bought Cine off earlier than him, which surprised me. But again, might be a fitness issue because Dango certainly looks fresh, which is the main thing. He always looks like he's got abundance of energy, to his credit. I just want to see him get some numbers this season.
Yeah, I'd absolutely love that. Who's your top player for Bournemouth on the stats of who scored? If we're going to
because I bet it's going to say like no, he's got good stats. So I fucking had enough of stats. The best player was Dean Howson. We all know it. I don't care about stats.
All right, let's see what the stats say. Dean Howson 7.2 with Alex Scott.
Okay. I know Alex obviously used the ball quite well when he had it.
Yeah.
We want to see a little bit more of him driving forward and doing a bit more, but to his credit, he doesn't lose the ball much.
Yeah.
And he actually won it back. He was quite good off the ball. Nico Williams has got the star man.
Yeah, 7.5. 7.5. Who'd have thunk it? Well, there you go. That is it. That was our first second look.
First second look. Yeah.
And I'm happy with the point.
We were taking it before the game.
We are a top 10 team as it stands, mate. Here's the league table that we're looking at now. Bournemouth are comfortably inside the top 10. But look, it's early days, but who knows?
No, it's on. It's on. But yeah, no, we all would have taken it before the game. Then you look at the lineups and you go, yeah, you've got to take a point here. Then you look at the fact you're 1-0 down with 5 minutes to go, you'd take a point, wouldn't you? So we got to take it, we've got to be happy. And it was still signs of lovely football again. And we've said it with the Euros and you say it with different things that we had previously. As soon as you watch Andoni ball, it's just so much more fun. It is so much more fun. I love him. Absolutely love him. And yeah, I mean, we didn't have the advantage of Southampton of playing a team that go down to 10 men for 20 minutes.
No.
And then you've got to play against less players for that long. They didn't score, by the way.
There you go.
But that means Fabian Schär is out for the Bournemouth game. And so, have you seen Sandro Tonali lose, by the way?
No.
His ban, he had the ban. Yeah. He's out of his ban the game after us.
You never know. It could happen. Right, whether you've been listening or you've been watching, we certainly want to thank you for your time. Remember, if you want to get involved on a second look, just pop us an email to fans@afcbpodcast.com. We might do a screen test. We might do a Simon Cowell style thing with buzzers. Shall we do that?
Yeah, a little
super
audition. Should we make like someone like Steve Enns like audition to try and get on the second look?
Come on.
Because he's playing tonight, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm in goal.
Up the cherries, and we'll see you in the next one. See you later.
Up the chest. I'm going to do a Neto tonight. I'm no around. I'm going to have an absolute howler tonight. Everyone's going to go, you cannot comment on the keeper again.
You will not spill.